everybody, I am your host Elad, and today I'm reporting to you from New York City outside of Trump Tower. We have people rallying in support of the president. Let's go talk to some people, see what's going on. So we're outside of Trump Tower over here, and people are rallying in support of President Trump. What does it mean for you to be out here today?
It means a lot to me because I love my country, I love my president, and what I see going on in New York and around this nation is very disturbing. And we need him there in 2010.
And what does Trump do? What changes has Trump made that you're really happy about?
Well, look at the unemployment. That's one thing. We have the Jerusalem, the embassy is now moved to Jerusalem. And look at how he's working with North Korea. We've had 3 presidents in there that helped this man get nuclearized.
Yeah.
So he's working with him. And look at the deals he's renegotiating. He's bringing America into the forefront where we should be.
Yeah, a lot of people label him as a white supremacist president and demonize him as such. What do you think about that characterization of him?
Well, they always call people names that they don't like and where they don't agree with them.
They call Mitt Romney a racist too.
I know. And a nationalist, as far as I'm concerned, means you're loyal to your country. That's what it means to me. So the name calling is always there. They call him a racist, but then when you look at all of the pictures he's taken throughout the years with black people, a racist wouldn't do that. So they're just liars.
But let's say, so I know one thing that, play devil's advocate here. In some of Trump's old buildings, there were that they were saying that he was discriminating against housing black people.
No.
What would you say about the reports?
No,
like that?
from what I've been able to determine, they didn't want people on welfare whether they were black or white. Because when they're on welfare, a lot of times they have no vested interest in your property and they will destroy it unnecessarily. So it didn't make any difference if you were black or white, he didn't want people on welfare.
Yeah. So I know there's a movement within the black community called Blexit. I don't know if you've heard about it,
yes,
but I wanted to ask you what you think about the movement. I know Trump got the largest % of black voters compared to like Republicans in the past.
Okay.
So what do you think about that, and how could Trump get more of the black vote?
Well, one thing, I just hope that more black people wake up. I've just written a book called Escaping the Racism of Low Expectations. And see, I'm a registered Democrat, and I have been one since I was 21. But I haven't voted for a Democrat since Giuliani. I've been supporting Republicans for a long time. But
what made you flip? Was there something that happened?
Because I got tired of the Democrats acting like I needed a nanny because my forefathers and foremothers were enslaved. I got tired of talking about slave owners and act like we have not progressed from that point. And I was not going to be their victim.
What do you think about, a lot of Democrats are floating the idea of reparations around. What do you think about reparations?
They're crazy. They're just trying to appease black people that they've had control over for many years. That doesn't make any sense. We have so many different types of blood in us.
Yeah. So do you think
if
a black boy and a white boy were born to more or less the same situation, lived in the same area, parents make the same money, do you think they have an equal opportunity at things in the United States?
Absolutely. And if these Democrats don't think so, why don't they move? Why don't they go to another country and see if they can say the things and get in other countries that they say here about this country, or get the positions in other countries that they have here? People come here from Africa. People who are blacker than I am say that they come here for the freedoms they don't have in their land.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything else you want to note?
Well, I want people to pick up my book, Escaping the Racism of Low Expectations by Barbara from Harlem. And some of the very things that we're talking about, I've explained them in my book in detail.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're outside Trump Tower here. You said this is your first Trump rally. What does it mean for you to be out here today?
A lot. I feel very welcomed here in general, and it's a very emotional day for me, actually.
Why is it an emotional day for you?
Because I have always been led to believe in my own community, the LGBT community, that I would be welcome in the conservative community.
And do you feel welcome in the conservative community as an LGBT person?
I do.
Because a lot of Democrats say otherwise. Could you tell me a little bit more about what the Democrats do to try to pander to the LGBT community?
So the Democrats have been laundering money, if you will, giving money to our community, the LGBT community, for years to censor us and silence us. We actually had a town hall meeting and planned for next week at the 13th Street LGBT Center, and because of the liberals who aren't really so liberal and the Democrats, we've been shut down and censored and discriminated against in our own community, our own family, because we want to have freedom of speech just like every other LGBT member, and we want to speak our political beliefs and tell people, hey, you have a choice as an American citizen. You can believe the bias one side or you can hear both sides.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask, though, some people say in the LGBT community say that Trump doesn't champion them because he did send out a tweet of a month ago or a few weeks ago where he said that he doesn't want trans people in the military. I wanted to ask, does that make him against trans people? What is your thoughts on that?
No, and I support the ban on transgender serving in the military.
Why?
Because I don't think you can protect and serve our country if we're at war. If you got to dilate your man-made vagina 30 minutes a day for 3 times a day, how are you going to serve our country? And during recovery, why are you serving our country for the next?
But there are trans people who didn't get the sex change yet, right?
Right. So there's a.
What about those people?
So I would say that if you're going to go into the military and serve our country, great. Take your hormone replacement therapy, do whatever you want, but don't go in there and think that the government or that taxpayer dollars should be spent on you having your surgery. Transition.
But if they meet the standards set forth by the military, do you think they should be able to serve? Right? Why shouldn't they be able to serve if they meet the physical requirements? Serve their country.
As a transgender person, I would still say that we need to look at the whole mental health policy on that, because I deal with a lot of mental health issues for the fact that I'm transgender.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know Trump's also said some hostile things about women, like grab her by the pussy. Do you think he's a champion of women too?
Of course he's a champion. I grab guys' dicks all the time. So what? Hey, you've never grabbed anyone in a club?
I'm not on the record. I haven't. I also wanted to ask, so the other thing that Trump supporters talk about is how he's going to build the wall and how he's lowered taxes and how there's historic low black unemployment. What do you hang your hat on that you like about Trump so much?
That he's real and he doesn't hide or sugarcoat shit, and he says the things that all American citizens believe in, and it's time we build the wall and it's time to put America first.
Thank you for your time. Was there anything else you want to say?
Vote Trump.
Thank you for your time. Have a good one. We're outside Trump Tower. What does it mean for you to be out here today?
It means freedom. I feel loved every time I come out here with Trump supporters.
Yeah. So this is actually my first rally in New York. Is this your first Trump rally in New York? Because I was saying, are these common? Are there a lot of Trump rallies? Are there a lot of New Yorkers who support Trump?
Yeah, it's a lot of New Yorkers that support Trump. A lot of us. We just not outspoken. A lot of us are afraid to wear our shirts or our hats.
And I wanted to follow up on that. Do you feel comfortable wearing a MAGA hat in public?
Yes, I do. Very comfortable. And plus, I have my father always with me.
Because there are people like Nick Sandman who suffered some consequences from wearing a MAGA hat. You know, a lot of the liberal media pounced on Nick. I'm talking about the Covenant High School kids. So what do you think about the media pouncing on people like that, different Democrats pouncing on that? Is it safe to be a Trump supporter?
I wouldn't say that it's safe. But you still have to stand up and not let people bully you.
Yeah.
You know, once you stand up and not let people bully you, other people will come to you and they will want to know more information.
Yeah. And I know there are a lot of black people starting a new movement. They called it Blexit. They're trying to get more people to leave the Democratic Party, per se. Trump got the largest percent of black votes compared to Republican presidents in the past. How do you think he could improve on that and get more people in the black community to support him?
Me personally, what I would like to see Trump doing is like what he was doing in the beginning, going to the churches and reaching out and getting more of our people in the White House and reaching out. Like more grassroots, basically, yeah.
Yeah. I know he's also done stuff on criminal justice reform. Some other things to hang his hat on is like record low black unemployment. But a lot of other people are calling him things like a white supremacist and saying he champions white supremacy and things like that. How do you respond to people who slander him like that?
If Donald Trump was a white supremacist, he would have never started the urban revitalization.
Could you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Urban revitalization is where they go into urban cities all around the country and they better our communities, fix our homes, fix the schools, give us jobs and stuff like that.
And I know a lot of the Democrat candidates are virtue signaling hard to the black communities. What do you think about how they do that and those people in general?
I heard a lot of Democrats talk about reparations. To me, I'm against reparations, but fine. If you want to give reparations, then let the Democrat Party give reparations, because they're the ones that did slavery to the black people.
Anything else you want to note?
Nothing. We love you, President Trump. We out here, blacks for Trump.
Thank you so much for your time. So why are you guys out here today for the Trump rally?
To show support for President Trump.
Yeah. And can I see your sign? What's your sign say?
Happy No Collusion Day.
So could you tell me a little bit more about what the sign means and what you think about the Mueller investigation?
Well, Mueller issued his report yesterday, and there's no further indictments, which means that we've been getting lied to on MSNBC and CNN for the past 2 years, when nightly, every single night, they've been promising that the shoe's going to drop tomorrow, that they have information, that the report is going to do this, that there's going to be indictments. It's all been a bunch of bull.
And I wanted to ask you, too, I know there's some other things that police are looking into for Trump. The Southern District of New York with Michael Cohen.
The Southern District of New York is looking into Trump. Yeah.
Across the board, and people like Michael Cohen.
And that's not how this country is supposed to work. See, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to suspect the crime. You're supposed to investigate the crime. You're not supposed to select an individual that you disagree with politically and target that individual.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask, so do you think anybody should have to suffer any consequences for spreading any fake news about the Russia collusion? Should we hold any of, because there are House members who said things?
I think that we have freedom of speech in this country. That gives people the freedom to lie, and it gives people the freedom to make asses out of themselves. And I'm not for punishing anybody for doing either one of those.
I also wanted to ask you about the wall. Trump was touting his whole campaign was build the wall, build the wall.
That's correct.
We still don't have a new wall. We had wall.
Correct.
You know, there was walls where we already had walls on the southern border.
That's correct.
Are you upset about there not being a wall yet?
No, the guy's trying to do it. He's doing more than any other politician in my life has ever done as far as trying to have border enforcement. As far as I'm concerned, sanctuary states, you know, they're going against the federal government. They're going against the law of the federal government. They should be treated like states that allow slavery in their states.
But in the beginning of Trump's term, the Republicans had both the House and the Senate.
They
so
did.
It couldn't get any better for Republicans trying to accomplish things.
Absolutely.
Why don't we have a wall? That's what Trump ran on.
Because the Republicans are part of the deep state. Okay. That's why when people on my side talk about the deep state, they're talking about the Republicans too.
Yeah.
You know, and they're the problem is in Washington. Our solutions are not in Washington. Our problems are in Washington.
Last question. I also wanted to ask. A lot of people say Trump doesn't champion women. Some of the more lewd things he said about women was, you know, grab her by the pussy and things like that. How do you respond to people who say Trump doesn't champion women?
I think he has more female advisors than the last 3 presidents. I saw a story about that yesterday. And you know what? He shouldn't be championing women. He shouldn't be championing blacks. He shouldn't be championing whites. He shouldn't be championing Hispanics. He should be championing Americans, and I think that's what this guy's doing.
Anything else you want to say?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. So why are you out here today at the Trump rally?
Why am I out here today? Because I love our president. Thank God we have a president that's pro-life, that doesn't believe in aborting babies until 9 months old, and when the baby survives an abortion, that they're permitted to let it lay there on a table without helping it and letting it.
Is Trump necessarily a pro-life president? You know, what kind of bills or executive orders have you passed?
Your candidate is anti-life. It's anti-life.
To do with infanticide.
Sure, it does.
Oh,
over 60 million babies have been aborted.
Okay, so we're
I'm
pro-life
a pro-choice person.
Okay.
But we also have the
But I
best.
don't kill 40-week babies.
Right, and we also have the best economy in the world, thank God. The stock market is doing great.
Thank you.
The job market is great. The unemployment is low.
Yeah.
Blacks and minorities are getting jobs.
Yeah.
So of course I support him. He's great. What does the left have to offer? What is their problem?
I wanted to ask you, do you think Trump does anything poorly? Is there anything you could critique Trump on that you think he could do better?
You can compare. Jesus is the only man that was perfect. Everyone else is imperfect, including our president. I am also very imperfect. However, he's a great president. I think he's going to be one of the best presidents we ever had. Yeah. He rests. He hardly rests. He's constantly moving and working and trying to make our country great.
Do you like how Trump uses Twitter?
Absolutely. Because it's more or less a platform where he could just relate to the people directly.
But sometimes he attacks people, and then like people in his cabinet and people related to his cabinet. So like Kellyanne Conway's husband, he attacked on Twitter recently. Do you think that's like a presidential thing?
That's his priority, sir. That's his priority. But thank you very much.
Anything else you want to note?
Yes, Jesus is number one. That's what I must say. And I totally support our president. Thank God for him. And please, let's get him in there for the next 4 years and 2020 pro-Trump.
Thank you so much for your time.
God bless you.
So we're down the block from Trump Tower here for a Trump rally. I wanted to ask you guys, what does it mean for you guys to be out here?
It's extremely important to be out here. I'm the chairwoman of the South Jersey Young Republicans. I have a number of young Republicans out here with me, and we are the future of the United States. So that's why we're here, and we're a strong group.
What about you? That's it. We're all here today. We're all here today. We're all here to unite, support President Trump. Get ready, Trump 2020, baby. That's it.
So what has Trump done? What has Trump accomplished that makes you guys support him so much?
President Trump has brought 4 million new jobs to this country, including manufacturing jobs. The peace summit with North Korea, 70 years of conflict. No president in American history sitting has been able to accomplish what he did. It is unprecedented something, and we have new trade deals, new better trade deals.
I know we're like in some conflict with China over trade deals. Do you think those are going over smoothly?
Absolutely. If you look at the Chinese economy, the Chinese Communist Party is reacting so badly to them because, you know, we import more of their stuff, so it affects us less. So the Chinese Communist Party is freaking out, and they're losing in this trade war right now.
I also wanted to ask, so in 2016, Trump was constantly saying, build the wall, build the wall, build the wall. And then in 2016, he won, the Republicans controlled the House, and the Republicans controlled the Senate. Why don't we have a wall?
Because Trump is surrounded by rhinos who look less to advance the interests of the United States and more to advance their own interests and agendas. Just because somebody's a Republican doesn't mean they're acting in the interest of the American people. Trump is surrounded by rhinos.
Yeah, but it was a promise of his campaign that he didn't get done. How does he get that done?
Trump is going to get it done because I see more and more patriots, Trumpsters running for office, and once they get in, hopefully, which they will, Trump 2020, they're going to support his policies.
So you'd support another campaign on Build the Wall, even though he said the same thing in 2016, didn't get it done, and then we're going to do Build the Wall again in 2020?
Absolutely.
Also,
He's good.
Also, I wanted to ask, a lot of people say he doesn't champion women because he's very aggressive towards them. He famously said, grab her by the pussy and things like that. Is he somebody who champions women even though he says things like that?
That's how men talk, okay? That's how a lot of men talk behind closed doors. And if women think otherwise, they're stupid.
And what do you think?
And if you look at his opposition in the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton, what she's done to women, her husband silencing rape victims on behalf of her husband and taking money from countries that treat women as second-class citizens. I mean, Trump said bad words so many years ago, and, you know, we all say things we regret. And if you look at the opposition, they have done far worse, and really they're hypocrites for even calling attention to it, because if you look at what they've done, it's shameful.
Absolutely. Also, last question. I wanted to ask you on his Twitter use, because he's the only president who's managed to go completely around the media and going straight to his base through Twitter. What do you think about his use of Twitter, and does he misuse it at all at any times?
Well, I think he misuses it sometimes, but overall I think it's great because the media, whether you're right or left, I think it's easy to agree. The media easily misrepresents what a lot of people say, and I think with him, they definitely have a giant hate agenda for him, so I think it's important for him to communicate his message directly so that everybody can understand exactly what he's trying to do, you know? Because
what do you think?
I agree 100%. When the media paints a picture that's negative about you, if you have an individual Twitter account and then you could address that individual, like by yourself, then I think it's positive.
So recently he's done something and attacked Kellyanne Conway's husband, and that's on the short list of horrible things. I mean, aggressive things that he said on Twitter. So, and
if these people attack him, why can't he attack back?
Well, why is he punching down? He's the president, right? Why is the president punching down? Because I mean, I'd talk trash to the president if he gave me that type of FaceTime, right?
You'd only be ganged up so much before you take a stand what you stand for, and that's what he's doing. He's standing up for himself and the country.
And politicians in the past, whenever they've been unfairly attacked, I'm saying, you know, a lot of politicians who are corrupt and deserve it, but a lot of people when they get attacked in the past, they kind of just shrug down like, okay. But he comes back and he says, you know, this is what I'm about, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm not going to stand for it. And I think that's wonderful. We need a president, frankly, with balls.
So now we have the Mueller case over, more or less. No more indictments. We're not going to indict Jared Kushner like a lot of the people in the liberal media and a lot of different Dems in the House of Representatives said. Jared Kushner, Don Jr., no more people are going to be indicted. Should there be any consequences for spreading fake news like that? Because we had people like John Brennan going on air and saying that Don Jr. is going to get indicted, all these people are going to get indicted. Fear-mongering, fake news. Should there be repercussions?
I don't think there should be because it's freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
People can say whatever they want, and people say, oh, you're against the president with that speech. No, it's freedom of speech. That's fine. You could say whatever you want, but the truth came out in the end.
Yeah.
So,
At the same time, I feel like news agencies should be transparent about where they stand. Like, news agencies like CNN, MSNBC are obviously left-leaning, but they portray themselves as the unbiased center media, and I don't think that's an accurate representation of themselves. So if you have, political views or agendas, you should be upfront and specific about them. That's something I feel like, conservatives do that liberals do not sometimes.
Is there anything else you want to note? Yeah.
no, that was it. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you so much.
But I wanted to ask you, we're outside of Trump Tower here. What does it mean for you to be out here in support of Trump?
Well, it's actually an amazing experience to be out here because I used to hate Donald Trump. I voted for Hillary Clinton. I was a Democrat my whole life. I was a liberal my whole life by default because I'm a gay man. So the expectation is if you're a minority in America, you have to be a liberal. You have to be a Democrat. Lucky for me, something happened in early 2017 that showed me very clearly that the liberal media does not care about us. They're lying to us. They're giving us
Could
false
you name the
information.
liberal media who you think made you hate Trump? Like, who can we point the finger at people? Who are the representatives doing this, and which people in the media?
CNN, Huffington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, specifically Rachel Maddow, Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper, any of those, you name it. But particularly like Huffington Post, CNN, those are the sources that I trusted to tell me the truth. Little did I know what they do is they use lies and fear and manipulation to control the behavior of LGBT people, of black people, of brown people in America, and to keep us coming back and thinking that everybody on the right hates us.
I know you have a shirt here. It says, not a racist, not a bigot, not a homophobe. What's the last one? Not a Democrat. So could you talk to me a little bit more about the shirt and what it means?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started something called the Walkaway campaign, and so just by virtue of the fact that I'm a gay man who has walked away from the Democratic Party and no longer supports liberalism, I am labeled by the same liberal media that lied to me about everything else. I am labeled a white nationalist, a white supremacist, a Nazi, a bigot, a racist, a homophobe, transphobic, you name it, xenophobic, and nothing could be further from the truth. The whole reason why I started the Walkaway campaign in the first place is to empower all people, but particularly minorities in America, who are getting the message time and again that they must be Democrats simply because of the color of their skin, their sexual orientation, or their gender, and it is not true.
And I also wanted to ask, what has Trump done specifically for the gay community?
What has he done for the gay community? Well, he's lowered their taxes. He's improved their employment rate. People are getting bigger paychecks. And he's improving the national security of our border, for starters. Because guess what? If we decide to have an open border policy and allow anyone and everyone to come in, the gay community is going to be one of the most vulnerable and targeted communities by people who are coming into this country from less civilized, less evolved nations that we have right here in the United States.
What other accomplishments can you hang your MAGA hat on and say, I really like that Trump got this, this, and this done?
That Trump got this, and this done? Well, he's pushing hard for the wall, and the wall is going to get built.
So I wanted to ask you more on that, because I know in 2016, Trump ran on build the wall, build the wall, build the wall. He won. We not only won the presidency, the Republicans also controlled the House and Senate for 2 years, and we still didn't get a wall. So what's the deal, and how can we expect him, again, he's going to say in 2020, build the wall, build the wall, build the wall. But if he didn't do it the first time when he had the House and Senate, how can we expect him to do it the second time?
I don't believe he is going to say build the wall in 2020. I believe he'll sign an executive order, as he said he was going to do, declaring a national emergency. The wall is going to get built, and he's not going to campaign on build the wall in 2020. The wall is going to start being built before then. He knows it would be it would not be good business for him to wait and make that an election promise for 2020. He knows that, and not to mention the fact that he's not a traditional politician. He's not out there BSing his constituency. He's going to get it done.
Yeah. And what other things do you want to see him do? I know he's doing a little bit of criminal justice reform, but another thing I wanted to mention was he's an outsider, right? I thought that would lead to something like, maybe marijuana legalization, something a little bit less orthodox. What other things do you want to see Trump actually do and accomplish?
Well, I want him to just kind of stay the course that he's already on. But one thing I am as excited about is that the ambassador to Germany, which is Richard Grenell, is spearheading a mission to try to do away with homophobia on a global level in politics. So he's actually going into the Middle East and some of these countries where gay people are literally being thrown off of buildings, killed, beheaded, and murdered, and trying to make a positive change in the world for the LGBT community to actually save the lives of gay people globally, not just here in the United States, where American gay people manipulated and controlled by the liberal left will tell you that they are so oppressed. We are not oppressed anymore in America. Tell that to people who are being thrown off of buildings and who are being beheaded in the Middle East.
I want to follow up with you on that. Where do you think it's the best place to be a gay person on Earth?
Probably,
like where you're most comfortable. Where do you think gay people are most comfortable in general on Earth?
I think here in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with all people calling Trump, an anti-homophobe or a homophobe rather, and all these horrible things, a white supremacist, we still think that here is the safe place for gay people, right?
Yeah, the only people who aren't safe are the people who have to go out and pay people to beat them up and then claim that white people did it with Trump hats. Absolutely. That's the biggest danger to gay people right now.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to note?
#walkaway.
Thank you so much for your time, Brandon.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Why are you out here today? We're outside of Trump Tower. What does it mean for you to be out here today?
Well, actually, we're not outside of Trump Towers because the police officers won't let us go over.
All right, so we're down the block from Trump Tower. Why are you out here?
I represent my president.
And what do you like about Trump? What's the one thing you can hang your hat on and say, wow, Trump did this and I really like it?
Well, he paper shredded the Iranian deal. That was going to be dangerous for Israel and for Americans and for the United States in general.
I gotta make
and, yeah, sure.
And I know Trump recently recognized the sovereignty of Israel over the Golan Heights, and he also moved the embassy. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. What do you think about those things?
I think he was the first president to actually have the cojones to do it. Everybody else said they would, and they never did.
And do you like that about Trump? I know a lot of people like him because they say he's an outsider. Is that what helps make him an outsider?
He's what you call an executor. He gets the job done.
What else? What else has he gotten done?
Well, he moved the embassy. He paper shredded the Iranian deal.
I know one thing. In 2016, it was all build the wall, build the wall, build the wall. It's 2019 now. Originally in 2016, they had a Republican House and Senate. In 2016, they had a Republican House and Senate, and we still didn't get the wall built. So how is the wall going to be built?
It will be built. It's already funded.
Okay. I also wanted to ask, what other big-ticket items do you want to see Trump do if he wins re-election in 2020? Maybe more criminal justice reform. I'd like to see marijuana reform. I don't know why marijuana isn't legalized yet. I thought somebody like an outsider like Trump would be able to do that stuff. I want to ask what you thought about that.
I think that President Trump's view on marijuana is actually pretty neutral. He said that if it's needed, that he would be okay with that. Yeah. So you may want to check your facts.
Oh, okay. Anything else you want to know?
No, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy to be an American and representing.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Why are you out here today? We're outside of Trump Trump Tower, rather. What does it mean for you to be out here and support the president?
Oh, it's great to be out here, and I'm trying to show the president that there's some real good support here in these liberal states, especially like Connecticut. There's many people here from Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania too. So we want to show him that there's support here.
Are there any specific accomplishments that you guys hang your MAGA head on and say, I really like that Trump did this, this, and this?
There's many things that we want to. He's trying to enforce the wall, lowering taxes. Many different things that he's trying to do too. Also,
I want to ask you a little bit more about the wall. So I know he ran in 2016 on build the wall, but it doesn't seem like the wall is getting built. Democrats are obstructing now, but in 2016 the Republicans had the House and the Senate. So why didn't the wall get built then?
I'm not really sure. I often wonder that myself, but now
because then if he runs that on that same concept in 2020 and says build the wall again, he said that in 2016. Why? What's the deal?
Hopefully he runs on the concept of let's build the wall again in 2020 and let's get the House back and then we'll build the wall. That's
but they already had the House and Senate. That's the question. So they're going to get the House and Senate again. Still no wall. It just seems like they're just trying to pander to people who want the wall but actually aren't getting it.
I think he's fighting every day for the wall, and I really firmly believe we're going to get that wall, and I firmly believe that he's going to be elected again in 2020, and hopefully we take back the House and get that wall in again. But there was a lot of other things that needed to be done, a lot of other different crises that really needed to be covered.
Talk to me about him.
Sure, that he's fighting the drug epidemic every day, which is great, and immigration.
I know a couple of other MAGA supporters that I talked to were speaking about how he was doing a lot of criminal justice reform, and then another big thing that they really liked was electing constitutionalist judges.
Yes.
And that's a big thing. He got Gorsuch in, and he was able to confirm Kavanaugh too, with a ton of pushback. I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to get those judges confirmed?
It's great to get those judges confirmed because now we sway conservative in the Supreme Court. And we hold the Senate. We have, I think, 29 Republican governors out of 50, which is great. So, I mean, to have two judges in there, which by Trump is great, two great judges too. And hopefully we get a couple more, you know, not wishing ill on anybody, but maybe somebody will retire soon.
Yeah. And I also want to ask, do you think Trump's surrounding himself with the right people in his cabinet? Because I know a lot of people are getting fired. It seems like a revolving door at sometimes. Most recently, Trump tweeted at like Kellyanne Conway's husband and things like that. I want to ask you, what do you think about that? And does he have everything under control in the White House?
I think he's taking control by firing people. He's cleaning it. He's really cleaning in the White House, sending people packing. And Kellyanne Conway's husband really puts her in a bad position every time he does something like that by knocking the president, because she's a great staff member of the president.
But don't you think that's below the president? He's punching down. If anything, I didn't know who Kellyanne Conway's husband was until Trump, you know, called him a bad husband. So why is he punching down at these guys? Like, that's not. Is that something you want the president?
Him. Yeah.
They're punching up at him. He's the president. Everybody punches up at the president. Why is he like? It encourages people. I feel like to. I guess so.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do basically, attacking at the source. The big guys that are trying to really attack him.
Sure. And I know he also was recently talking ill about like John McCain. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, he did talk about John McCain, but John McCain's funeral was approved by the president. Sure. A senator that dies and gets that type of a funeral is great. Now, talking ill about him is not that you're not supposed to talk ill about the dead, but he never got a thank you from the McCain family about that funeral that they gave John McCain, because without the president's approval, he wouldn't have had it.
Who's gonna send the thank you letter? John McCain? I mean,
Meghan McCain or his wife, or even John McCain's mother is still alive.
I don't know if that's what we should expect. Maybe. I guess so.
The Bush family thanked him greatly for when George Bush's father died.
I didn't know.
And Barbara Bush too. Yeah, they thanked him greatly. I mean, they were with him the whole time in D.C. So that's what we expected out of the McCains. But you know, something that it's not really affecting what Trump's doing. So that I'm here to talk about, you know, the accomplishments and the future accomplishments made by the president.
What other things do you want to see him get done in 2020 besides building the wall? What do you want to see his platform be?
Build the wall. I want to see him lower taxes. I want to see him legalize citizens. And
you want to see him legalize weed?
That'd be up to him. I think he wants to leave that up to the states.
Why are we making things like weed illegal, though, right? I mean, coming from my more libertarian side, I thought an outsider like Trump would be the guy to legalize weed. You know, what's the deal?
Weed to me is something that I don't know if I would legalize myself, but I mean, there's a lot of statistics against it. Like, I mean, driving accidents went up 30% in Colorado, and the governor of Colorado at the time said that all the tax they made off weed was so little compared to all the other taxes.
Do you think alcohol is worse than weed?
In some cases, yes.
So then, I mean, why are we being choosy? It's going to be the question.
No, you're right.
People should be able to make their own decisions.
I'm on the wall. I'm on basically. Basically, I'm on edge with that. I don't know what I would do really with weed.
Just
you know,
because I thought an outsider president like Trump would be the guy to get things like that done.
I don't think Trump is concerned about legalizing weed right now. I think he's more concerned about the crisis at the border. You know, weed is such a little issue, and you know something. If they legalize it or they don't, people still smoke weed. You know. It's just going to lower crime rates.
Well, it's going to bring, exactly. It'll help lower the crime rate, and then it'll bring in more tax revenue. A lot of places are benefiting a ton. I mean, there are downsides to it, too, I'm sure. I'm sure we could find some, but I don't think the government should be in the business of telling people, hey, you can or can't smoke. People are going to break the law anyway. So
yes, they will, like they did with the prohibition.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Anything else you want to note?
No, that's it. I'm just glad everybody came out to support today. It's really great that everybody's here.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Hey, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode. I wanted to pose the question back to you. What do you think about the questions I was able to ask? Let me know what you think down in the comments. If this is your first time here, guys, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, stay barely informed.
Discussing with the citizens of Harlem